Boom. MMA Gossip, episode 14.5, baby. We're back. Chris, Mike, Matt. We just had Jordan, the NJ betting guru, on. You got to check out his page. That's episode 14, part 1. This is 14.5, like UFC 37.5. We're going with that. Whatever. Anyway, usual. Like, comment, subscribe at MMA X Gossip, Instagram, Twitter, Gmail, the whole nine. You're already on YouTube, so just like the fucking video. Do us a favor, hit fucking like, hit that big red subscribe button. Follow Jordan at NJ Betting Guru New on Instagram, and the usual. We're back at it. We're going to review this past weekend's card. I think UFC Vegas 4, Poirier Hooker, banger. Let's get into it, baby. Mike.
All right, baby. Let's get right into this. There is no fights this upcoming Saturday, so we'll get right into that on our next episode next Tuesday. So if you're looking for that, keep tuned. It'll come out next Tuesday. So today's just a recap. So first up, we had Yusuf Zalal edge out a really close decision against Jordan Griffin. Matt.
Sorry, I was just pulling something up to refer to later. Started hot on the night. I thought it was a good fight. Thought Zalal looked good, and I thought he did exactly what he had to do in the third round to close the fight out. If I remember correctly, yeah, it was a close fight. It was really close, right? I think Zalal won the first, Griffin won the second round, right? Yeah. And then Zalal in the third just did his thing. Not much to say on that one. I don't think Jordan Griffin's long for the UFC anymore. You saw exactly what you usually see out of him. And again, he couldn't close the show. It's easy. He's either closing the show via submission or he's losing. So, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, he's tough. Zalal hit Griffin with some big shots, and he ate them pretty well. Stayed in there. Yeah, not much. I don't see any other way than to score that fight 29-28 for Zalal. So not much to say there. That was the score. I think all over Twitter, that's all I saw. Everyone score the fight. There's no other way to score than 29-28. Zalal, 23 years old, kid looks real good. Got 2 wins in the UFC, and I'm interested to see what happens next.
Yeah, absolutely. Jordan has a way of keeping fights close and staying tough, but he did get tired, and I agree. Clear 29-28. Next up, we had Kay Hansen submitting Jin Yu Frey in the third round after a sketchy first round. Matt, take it.
And we're off. I had the over. It missed by 4 seconds.
Next.
Dude, I thought that after that first round, because I had Faye. That's how you say it, right? Yeah. I thought
Fry.
I thought I was going to win that, honestly. She looked good in the third round. She was piecing her up on the feet again. Thought she was going to win 29-28. And I was like, all right, at the absolute worst, I'm going to hit the over. All of a sudden, she's on her back, and she was like, you could tell looking at her face, she was like, she was indecisive if she wanted to tap or not. I'm pretty sure she rolled her eyes before she tapped, and so did I. Chris?
That was hilarious. I felt bad for you because that was just how that was the beginning to end for you. I didn't know that was coming at all. I shouldn't say that. I was pretty big on Jin Yu Frey before that. 20 years old, coming to the UFC. Apparently someone bet $37,000 on her to win 20, and that is one happy man. That dude is as happy as possible that Matt was frustrated after the second fight of the night. Kay Hansen looked good. She said her idol, Ronda Rousey, inspired her to get into MMA, and Ronda shouted her out on a tweet. I don't think what Ronda didn't realize is that Kay Hansen on her Twitter has a pinned tweet of her hugging her boyfriend, and it's like so happy or something. But it was after her last Invicta fight, and Ronda quote tweeted that, thinking that was her UFC fight. But hey, Ronda shouted her out. She got a lot of exposure from it, and good for fucking Kay Hansen.
Yeah, at the end of the day, good for her. Not much to say about Jin Yu Frey. So she's 35, maybe towards the end of your career. She's an atom weight. Really not much to say here, but it was obvious that the UFC was trying to push Kay here. Up next, Chris, you had a good call putting this as one of your picks because I thought Felipe Lins was going to win. I just thought that he was just a little bit better all around. I thought that Tanner Boser was just like a slimmer version of, Big Country, but he looked good on the scales. He looked good in there, man. No one expected this fight to go the way it did. Everybody, the line was minus 200 to go to the distance. So really sharp bet there, Chris. Felipe Lins, I think the UFC saved a lot of money on you because you were about to get 80 G's or something like that. And Tanner Boser, I think, squeaked away with significantly less.
12 and 12.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So the UFC is pumped for you. Felipe Lins, I don't know what's next for you, if there's a next for you, but, props to that, Matt.
Dude, fuck that guy too, man. I couldn't hit any. Again, second week in a row, I can't find a winner anywhere. I was really indecisive on this fight, but seeing Boser in there, he looked good, man. And I know in his post-fight, they were talking about how the commentators, I think it was Bisping specifically, said that he should move down to 205. And he was like, why? I just fucking kicked ass. Why am I going to cut 35 pounds? And he looked good. I mean, granted, yes, he's a little small, but he was really light on his feet. And the fight before this against, how do you guys – I always say his name wrong. Gane.
Cyril Gane.
Gane, yeah, he was supposed to get his doors blown off in that fight. He was minus like 500. He went the distance. So maybe we have something here at heavyweight with Boser. Chris?
Yeah, I agree. And he had a good call out. He looked good on the scales. He looked good in the octagon, and he had a great post-fight call out of Maurice Green, who happily and willingly obliged. And it looks like in another month or two, they're going to go at it on Fight Island, baby. So I'm excited to see that. Good fight, good call out, whole nine. Tanner Boser, thank you. My first pick of the night. Correct.
Yeah, props to you for that. I was way off with that. Next up, Worthy with the upset over Luis Pena. Matt, I know you have a lot to say about this. Gather your thoughts, take a deep breath, and tell us how you feel, pal.
Dude, if we didn't just have the New Jersey betting guru on right now, I would have some strong words for Luis Pena. But I'm not. Let's say, dude, after that first round, I was positive he lost the first round. Can we agree on that? I thought he got outstruck in the first round, and I was shitting.
He definitely lost the first round.
Yeah, definitely lost. Disclaimer, I had $1,100 on this fight, so everybody knows why I was shitting. Second round, you got him to – yeah, there we go. There we go. Second round, got him to the ground, did what Luis Pena does. I was like, all right, this looks great, perfect. Worthy hit the switch on him. Oh, my God. Worthy hit the switch on him, reverse positions. Pena got his position right back. And I was like – and then I still at the beginning of the third round, and Bisping even noticed the same thing I did. I thought Worthy started to look a little bit tired on the feet. He wasn't moving as much. And I was like, I think I might actually have this. Pena knew where he had to get the fight. I was also pissed off he didn't stop in the second. Like, you have a guy in the middle of the octagon with a body lock, and you can't, like, sink anything. Like, it's second fight in a row. We saw him do this. He did the same thing against Steve Garcia. You get to fight there that long in the middle of the cage with no fence around you, finish the fight. But anyway, third round, he starts doing what he knows he had to do, trying to get the fight to the ground, and he just got caught in a nasty choke, man. Shout out to Worthy, bro. Second fight in a row that you won that the odds maker said you shouldn't have. So maybe we got something with him. Pena, bro, it's back to the drawing board, man. I'm still kind of a little high on him. The hype's definitely slowed down a bit. But, $1,100 later. Chris?
Yeah, $1,100, that'll do it to you, man. But, Luis Pena went from prospect to prelims. Granted, he was on the prelims here, but he headlined the prelims. But in his last couple fights, people were saying Matt Favola might have been his ceiling, and I kind of agree with that. And in this fight, he did have a clear grappling advantage, although he was submitted. His grappling advantage was, it's not even a question of who's the better grappler there. But I think he got too comfortable with his success from the second round, carrying into the third round, and he just got fucking caught. On the feet, they looked pretty even. Like, Luis Pena was a little bit smoother, I want to say, but Worthy definitely packed a bigger punch and was willing to throw that right hand. And he hit Luis Pena with it a few times. I didn't know if that was going to be the nail in the coffin. I did think that Luis Pena was going to win, but I did say last week on the podcast, minus 275 was very steep on Luis Pena. Like, I would place, I'm by no means a handicapper, but I would have said, less than minus 200 for sure, and it definitely looked like that in the ring. So that was one that I was wrong, but right on. Mike?
Well, if you remember, I picked Worthy on the podcast, and of course, me just never listening to myself, I said I wanted Worthy. I picked him on the podcast, and then when he talks, Mike.
Yeah, we definitely need to pump the brakes a little bit on the Luis Pena train. And I'm mostly pointing my finger at myself because I really did think that his potential was much more than I saw. Like, I think he quietly doesn't really show that he gasses in his fights, man. He's huge for that weight class. He's so massive. And I think he, like, low key gets tired in his fights. And in the third round, he didn't have that pep that he had in the earlier rounds. And it showed. Like, he got sloppy, he got tired, and he got submitted. So all the props in the world to Kama Worthy in that fight. Up next, Julian Erosa, the biggest underdog on the card, pulls through. And in hindsight, I don't know how the hell I didn't see this. Sean Woodson was one of my picks. So was Luis Pena. So on the night, I went 1 and 2. But Julian Erosa gets the submission over Sean Woodson in round 3. Matt?
I was having no fun watching this card. None. I was in such a hole at this point, dude. It's not even the main card. It wasn't the main card, was it?
First fight of the main card.
Okay, whatever. Still like 1,500 in the hole already. But anyway, Woodson, I was so impressed with his first round, dude. Like his striking is so unorthodox. All that hand movement he does, and I think I texted you guys halfway through the second. I said he looks like he's getting tired, and Erosa put it on him in the second. He won the second, in my opinion. And then in the third, I was like, I really need I need this third round from him bad. And I thought Chris had a great bet. He said, because the line was minus 600, of course they took it. But then Chris also said, take a normal line. Here is Woodson by decision plus 200. I was like, oh, perfect. Third round, dropped him. I was like, great, this is going to fucking cash. I know Chris said the same thing because he had it in a parlay. I was all hyped up. And then it shows then immediately Woodson, you could tell, never grappled a day in his life. That choke was locked up so quick. I knew the fight was over immediately. I was like, done. This guy literally has no idea what he's doing. And I lose third fight in a row. I'm losing on a submission in the third round when the guy I bet on was winning the fight. Chris?
Yeah, I wanted to check out my parlays. I will get into that in a minute because that was there. But, yeah, I got Sean Woodson by decision at plus 250. And when he dropped Julian Erosa it was 1-1 going to the third, 100%. He drops Julian Erosa in the third round, and I was positive that I won the bet. I was already counting my money. I was like, okay, all he's got to do, a minute and a half left here, keep top position, maybe let him back up, pitter-patter like you do, and boom, there goes my 250 bet. But lo and behold, Julian Erosa got that Dars from introduced Sean Woodson to Snap Down City, got the choke, and I love Julian Erosa. By no means did I think he was going to win. No means. But on the podcast last week, like I said, I'm a big fan of Julian Erosa from Tough. I followed him. I think he went to Cage Warriors. He fought Patty Pimblett, and it was awesome. I loved seeing Julian Erosa fight. Did not see him winning. I lost my bet, but I'm very happy to see him win.
Yeah, like I said, in hindsight, it doesn't make sense why he was such a massive favorite because his ground game is essentially up in the air. He's 9-0. He's a previous boxer. He likes to keep it on the feet. We really didn't know what was going to happen when it hit the ground. And for the line to be that outrageous, and it was pushed that way, so the betting public was all over Sean Woodson. So incredible, mad props to Julian Erosa. He didn't know if he was ever going to fight in the UFC again, so hey, I'm sure he's living on cloud 9 right now, and he deserves to be. And Sean Woodson, I saw you put on your story, you're on a jiu-jitsu class, man. You go. I mean, because your boxing is crisp, man. You dropped him, and it's nice. It really is. If you can sharpen other tools, man, you are a force to be reckoned with for sure. Next up, we had Takashi Sato knocks out Jason Witt in 48 seconds. Not much to say here. Jason Witt, props to you for coming into UFC on such late notice, and Sato did what he was exactly supposed to do. Matt?
I finally hit a bet, but at this point, it was like a drop in the bucket. I was on the phone with Chris when it happened. I was just like, at this point, I don't even care. Like, whatever. Great. Super. On to the next one. Yeah, really not much to say about this fight. I think me and Mike, me and you were on, what's his name, actually? We weren't even going to bet Sato before the fight was changed, right?
Yeah, no, we weren't on Sato. It was the Brahimaj, the new guy coming over from the I think LFA. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, I mean it was a nice finish. I mean that's pretty much what I expected when I saw the fight get switched. Chris?
Yeah, Sato was the first fight in my 3-fight parlay. I had a 6-fight parlay. The only one I lost on was Sean Woodson at plus 888 odds. I bet $100 on it to win $888. Well, I guess $988 and Sean Woodson was where I lost it. So I came up with a new parlay on the spot. Quick little 3-fight guy with Sato, Brendan Allen, and Maurice Green. Quick little $150 come up, but hey, who's counting? Me. But anyway, Sato, yeah, he got that. It was a quick fight. There wasn't too much there. I think it was sub a minute, and that was it. Lights out. Sato on to the next one. He finally looked good. That's what when he came into the UFC, they wanted him to do. He knocked out what's his name? Ball jiu-jitsu guy who everyone knocks out.
Ben Saunders.
Ben Saunders, and it's like, okay, that's like a rite of knocking out Ben Saunders is like a rite of passage into the UFC. So it's not saying much, but this is what they saw Sato doing. Granted, Jason Witt came on late notice, but moral of the story, good for Sato. On to the next.
Next up, a surprisingly competitive bout. Brendan All-In Allen wins a unanimous decision over a very game Kyle Daukaus. Matt, hit it.
It was a good fight, and after looking into Daukaus, I didn't expect it to be a blowout. Obviously – Brendan Allen's game, we're all big fans of him. I think his grappling, and you could tell from that fight, is far superior. But based off of what I was watching, what I read about Daukaus, I was like, you know what? He could be game for this fight. He was a big, stocky dude, could be hard to deal with on the ground, and that's exactly what he was. And there was a lot of times the whole third round, he controlled the grappling exchanges. And honestly, I wasn't really – after being so impressed with Brendan Allen for so long, I'm not saying get off the hype train because he won, but – definitely, I don't know, man. It just was. I wasn't impressed by every dog has maybe just wasn't on his game or whatever. But I thought he was going to get that finish in the second round. I thought he should have gotten the finish in the second round, but he was dropping some fucking bombs, dude. Some of those elbows he was throwing is like, Jesus Christ. He smashed Daukaus' face open in that second round. Props to Daukaus for coming back out in the third and literally controlling the whole round. That guy, he was game. But the Brendan Allen win streak continues, and I'm excited to see what he has coming next. I think he should take some time off because I don't know, maybe cutting weight that quickly and all the beatings exactly, Mike, are getting to him because of the short time between fights. But we'll see what happens, Chris.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm still all aboard the Brendan Allen hype train, and I don't think it's a hype train. I think it's a legit train, and I don't think that it was Brendan Allen's doing of wrongdoing. I think that Kyle Daukaus just super game and came to fucking fight and brought a fight to Brendan Allen, who still got a 10-8 round on one of the judges' scorecards. He broke facial bones and stuff. I saw a couple reports that he broke a couple bones in his face, so he's gonna have to take time off. And he's only 24 years old, man. Which is crazy. That's hard to believe. And he looks that good in that division, and he's on the up, and he's an up-and-comer. Take some time off, take 6 months plus and develop your game a little bit more. 24 years old, you could literally, sky's the limit. I'm all about it. He was my lock. He was Mike's lock too, I believe. And we cashed on him. Hope you boys tailed us. That was number 2 in my parlay.
Yeah, Brendan Allen was in all my parlays, so thank God for that. Now, I'm glad you said he's 24 because he is ridiculously young. He's got a lot of experience. He was in LFA. I'm pretty sure he challenged for the LFA belt maybe 3 times. And those might be his 3 losses. I could be totally wrong, but I know for a fact that he's fought for the belt at least 2 times in LFA. So, and he's 24 years old.
For the belt.
Yeah. So he's only getting better, and his striking can only go up from here. If there's any part of his game that needs work, it's his striking, and everything else is so technically sound. We just had the guru on here talking about Brendan Allen's hips, and if you got hips like Brendan Allen, man, that's what you look for when you're placing bets, because he's just absolutely wizard on the ground. Go ahead, Matt.
There was this takedown. I forget which round he stopped. I forget which round it was in, but there was this takedown that he stopped. It was a power double, and I think 99.9% of the UFC roster was going to the ground. Even Bisping or whoever, one of them said, it was geez, dude, he was basically on his butt, and then until he wasn't. His hips are ridiculous. I was shocked when he stopped this takedown. I wish I could remember. I think it was in the second round, but it was as deep as a double leg gets, and he just fended it off. It was awesome.
Yeah, and I'm super excited to see what comes of Kyle Daukaus, because I was not expecting that much game out of him on just incredible, absolutely incredible performance for someone coming in the UFC. during a quarantine, so young, 9-0. All his previous opponents were essentially bums. Like, very impressive. Very excited to see what he has next. Up next, Maurice Green chokes out my dad, John Vellante, in the 3rd round. Matt.
What is this fight doing on the main card, dude? That fight was as bad as fights get. Like, just two gassed heavyweights. Vellante throwing leg kicks from across the fucking octagon. Maurice Green with his weird oblique kick. It was just bad. All around bad. The submission, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it wasn't even like really a submission. Like, what did they call it? They called it a head and arm?
Maurice Green said after the fight, when they asked him, they were like, what was that? Blah, blah, like exactly what you just said, Matt. And he goes, arm triangle from the bottom. Like, he said it as if it was every day.
I mean, I guess. I mean, you know, I'm doing exactly what I said I don't like doing on our episode 14, like talking shit. Somebody that's not a fucking fighter. You know what? We don't know what it felt like to be in Vellante's position. Maybe Green has some serious squeeze and Vellante actually couldn't breathe on top of his gas tank being legitimate dog shit. So, you know what? Props to Green, because I think he was going to lose that fight if he didn't pull that submission off. Chris?
I was with you, Matt. I thought it was 1-1, but it came out post-fight. All 3 judges had it 2-0 for Maurice Green. So he was winning regardless. I did have it personally. I thought it was 1-1, but it was not. Vellante looked like shit at heavyweight. That was a lower level MMA fight, but Maurice Green came to Jackson Wink, reversed his losing streak, and he was only at Jackson Wink for not even 3 full weeks, I don't believe. And his whole family's moving there now. So I'm super curious to see what Jackson Wink can do with him. You know, maybe they can develop him into a legit UFC fighter. He got his contract. Maybe him and Tanner Bozier are going to go at it on Fight Island. He looks great. I have no idea. I'm not here to tell you that. What I am here to tell you is that John Vellante has no gas tank, and I'm a big fan of his. We're all Jersey guys. We love John Vellante. He did not look good at heavyweight. He is not a true heavyweight, and I want to see him in shape at 205. I mean, he's a vet. He's been in the UFC for a minute. He's getting up there, so I don't really know where he goes from here. I mean, if he wants to fight at heavyweight again, they'll give him another lower-level opponent or maybe a prospect to knock his ass out. We'll see. But with that said, Maurice Green, good for you. Congrats on the win, and good luck in Albuquerque.
Yeah, I know John Vellante just had a kid. He's getting up there in age. I feel like at this point, I could be totally wrong, and who the hell am I? But it does seem like he's fighting for a paycheck nowadays. So Maurice Green was the young kid, definitely won the fight. He was winning the fight going to the 3rd round based on the judges' scorecard. So what was meant to happen, happened. So love you, John Vellante. We'll see what's next for you. Maurice Green, congratulations. Up next, Mike Perry. Out-grappled, outstruck, out-fought Mickey Gall. And the fact that me and Matt put Mickey Gall as our underdog pick, I just want to go punch myself in the face for putting that up on Saturday. And I'm sorry to everybody that tailed that or even looked at that and said that guy's an idiot. Correct. I'm an idiot. Mickey Gall, you're a fraud. It's over for you, dude. I don't know where you go from here. Mike Perry, with essentially lack of a training camp, lack of a corner, just going out there and fighting. You're the man, Matt.
Dude, I mean, I ended up betting Perry, and like, there's so much to say about Mike Perry. Like, no coach, no camp, loves his girlfriend, his fucking cookie monster, his snickerdoodle, his whatever the hell he calls her. That dude is funny, man. Like, he can lose every fight forever, and he will always be in the UFC because he's just prime entertainment. That being said, I was shocked about the grappling exchanges because Perry was obviously winning everything on the feet. Mickey's stand up. All right, don't shit on me. It didn't look bad in the first round. Before he gassed, he was tagging Mike Perry, and Mike Perry just got a chin made of steel, so it didn't matter. And then Mike Perry sealed the end of the first round with a ridiculous suplex and just beat Gall's breaks in. And then the rest of the fight was more of the same. I thought there was a couple times he could have stopped the fight. There was a vicious elbow that he hit him with on the ground. I thought he put his forearm through the canvas. But yeah, man, I know that you guys weren't impressed with Perry, but for a guy like Perry who notoriously really doesn't have a ground game to hang with Mickey Gall, who as much as he sucks, he can grapple. No coach, no training camp, the whole nine. He looked good on the ground. I mean, I'm not going to say like, give him a top 15 fucking guy after this by any means. But, for what it was and given him the whole situation, he looked good. He beat the brakes off of him on the feet. And you know what? Good for him because a lot of people were shit talking him. Do I want to see him face Darren Till next? No. Actually, yeah, it'd probably be funny. But outside of the comedic aspect of it, I don't want to see it. Chris?
I agree with you. And just to play devil's advocate, he was a minus 300 favorite or so. He should have beaten Mickey Gall the way he did. Like, that's what Vegas thought was going to happen. That's what we thought was going to happen. That's what did happen. I will say he was essentially – he won the first round, but for a couple minutes of the first round, he was getting outstruck by Mickey Gall. And that's not ideal. If you're Mike Perry, it's not where you want to be, where his grappling definitely improved. His striking almost seems like it's been digressing in the UFC. In the beginning, he was coming in with all these knockouts. And granted, he is fighting better competition, but I haven't seen a knockout from him in a little while now. And, that comes with moving up in the division. I definitely don't want to see him fight Darren Till at 185. Darren Till, I believe, is like the number 2 contender at 185. I have no interest in seeing him fight fucking Mike Perry. Yeah, Darren Till's on fire right now. I don't think he should stoop to Mike Perry's level. It's hilarious that this all came from him saying he'll raw dog Mike Perry's bird. And here we fucking are talking about them fighting each other, which is hilarious. But I do Mike Perry's an entertainer. He's here to entertain, and I would, like he said, he's moving to South. He lives in southern Florida, and now he's moving to South Florida. Go to ATT, bro. Get a legit camp, train with fucking wrestlers and these guys down at ATT, and let's see what you got, bro. Bring that to the octagon. I think that could only benefit him, tenfold.
Absolutely. And, Till's already got a matchup anyway. He's going up against Whitaker, I think, July 25th. Yeah. And, sneak preview, Till's plus 130 right now. I'm already on him, tail cautiously, but I think that line might flip eventually. Anyway, up next, main event, perhaps the fight of the year, if only to be surpassed by Weili Zhang and Joanna Jędrzejczyk. You can make the argument for either one. Absolutely banger of a fight. My boy Chris over here on my screen, this is how it's going to look. My boy Chris over here has watched it 4 times already. I was drunk. It was my birthday. I was wasted, so I had to watch it the next day. But it was a banger. And I do not think, for anybody that thought Hooker wins, you're wrong. Usually I give everybody an argument. No, Dustin won that fight, and he solidified it in the 5th round. Absolute barn burner of a fight, man. It could not have been any better. Lived up to the hype and then some. Matt.
Dude, who is more game in the UFC than Dustin the Diamond Poirier, dude? Come on. There was a lot of people that were saying, who knows where his head's at. He had to go through the ringer to get through Khabib. He's beaten Pettis. He's beaten Gaethje. He's beaten Alvarez twice, basically. Holloway, he finally gets to the belt. And then he loses, and people are wondering, is his head still in it? Like this, that, the other thing. And then he comes out like that Khabib fight never happened. And puts on a 5-round spectacle against Dan Hooker. Faced adversity in the fight, almost got dropped in the 2nd round. And then he knew exactly what he had to do in that 5th round. If you look at the striking differential in that 5th round, like, holy shit, dude, that's a champion in my book. I love Dustin. You guys know I love Dustin. He 100% won that fight, and I'm pumped to see what the UFC does for him next. And did you guys see right after the fight was over what he said to Hooker in the cage? He was like, hey Dan, you're going to fight Gaethje next, right? You're going to beat my fucking face in, right? Dude, he's the man, bro. I love Dustin. I could watch him fight every single weekend. Every weekend. His striking is just everything about him. He mixes it up. He's ground game. He almost subbed him 2-3 times. I kept freaking out that he kept pulling guard for a guillotine. But you were right. That one time was close. But there was another couple times because the fight is so close. And that the judges sometimes just don't understand somebody attacking off their back. And with the fight that close, I just didn't like constantly seeing on his back because even though I know what's going on, he's slashing elbows from the bottom. He's the more active fighter. The judges might not fucking see that. I didn't want him to lose the fight because of that. I thought he had that arm bar. I do agree with Bisping. If he would have switched it to a triangle, he might have had it. And then he's shooting for an omoplata, dude. He was all over the place. He showed his whole game was on display, and I cannot wait to see him again. Chris?
I agree with everything you said, bro. Dustin is game as fuck. Hooker is game as fuck. He said, I saw Gaethje tweeted, he's like, congrats, both boys. He's like, Poirier, you did the damn thing, and Hooker deserves a seat at the big boys table, which is true because 155. If you want to say 155, 135, one of the two are the most stacked division in the UFC. 155 just never fucking dies, man. And now add Hooker to that list. Fucking Tony, Poirier, Habib, Connor. It's just madness at the top of that division, and Hooker is right there. His stock rose with that loss. I do agree that the scorecards were right. 48-47, 100%, 3 rounds of 2, Dustin, 2-2 going into the fifth, and the fifth, Dustin 100% took it. I don't see any other way than to score that 48-47 for Dustin. That fight was fucking epic. It's fight of the year for me. Recency bias aside, I think that was more like the shots that they were eating and just, oh my God. Like, I know Poirier said he was flashed out for, dude, with no fans, you hear the crack of these hits. Oh my God. The fact that they stood up after all those punches, and I saw Lil Wayne put out a tweet, and he's like, them boys were banging. Like, you know what I mean? Shout out to Dustin repping Louisiana, right? Like, Brendan Allen, too. He shouted out in that tweet. That's got to feel awesome coming from a legend like Lil Wayne. And, yeah, man, Dustin is a savage. I said it on the last podcast, if he won, I think that he should fight Tony. And Ariel tweeted at him, like, who should he fight next? Give him Tony. And he's like, let me relax, man. Let me rest a little bit and, let him do all the resting he wants. I do think that he should fight Tony next. And if he wins, I've said this to Matt, he wins, and if Gaethje can somehow beat Habib, it's Poirier and Dustin for the belt. They already fought once. Poirier won, and Gaethje basically wants to have rematch back more than he wants the belt itself. They respect the shit out of each other, and that fight will be fucking crazy.
Yeah,
especially because Gaethje's a different fighter now than he was
with
Dustin the first time. So I think it would play out a little differently. I think it would go a lot farther into the 5 rounds. Wow, man, I would love for that to happen because God knows, you guys know Gaethje. I'm putting everything on him when he eventually fights Khabib, and I'm praying for that.
I already have a $200 bet on him. I'm all in. But did you see? Of course, Mr. Retired has to do what he does and immediately put up the video of him knocking out Dustin. Connor, like.
Yeah.
He's so funny, dude.
He's extra. But with that being said, you guys have any final thoughts?
Just to let everyone know that we're gonna, for next week, we'll have a show on Tuesday breaking down July 11th, which is stacked. So we're excited to do that. Since we have an extra week, we're gonna do a shit ton more research and watch a shit ton more fight videos. Make sure that we're on top of our game. Again, we're gonna be making 3 picks, 1 lock, and 1 underdog for you guys, and we'll be keeping a record on our Instagram. Go check it out whenever you get a chance. Again, follow us at MMA X Gossip on Instagram, also MMA X Gossip on Twitter. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button, hit that red subscribe button, please. It helps spread the word. And again, a huge shout out to the Betting Guru for being on our show today. Could not be more excited to have that guy. He's on the up and up. Please go follow him. Take it. If you're a gambling guy, you need to refer to him before you place any bets. And this is for all sports, not just mixed martial arts. Anything left, fellas?
That's it, boys. Thank you, Jordan, for coming out. Thanks to everyone listening. Like Mike said, like, comment, subscribe. That's it.
All right, boys.
All right, let's paddle out, Chris.
Let's do it.
All right, be well, everybody.